Dr. Rita, Louise, and thank you all for tuning into the show tonight. I just want to thank everyone who has supported this broadcast from Facebook and YouTube, and I really appreciate you coming every week to join in and, get a reading or talk about something or hear me babble on about something. So today, I am going to be talking about self-love. And so when most people think of self-love, I think the first image that comes to mind are the narcissistic people of the world who are grandiose and self-serving and spend a lot of time self-loving, getting their needs met, getting their wants met by everyone around them, and not really caring about how the people that they are taking energy from are feeling. And so this is for the other end of the spectrum. This is for the empath, the codependent, the people pleaser, and the fawner. It is to you that I am specifically speaking. People that are in that category, empaths, people pleasers, codependents, or have the fawning stress response, spend a lot of their time taking care of everyone else. They will hesitate before they will buy themselves something, or won't take that last piece of chicken off the plate because somebody else might want it, even though they might be hungry. I'm sure you can all think of so many examples of, if you're one of those people, of things you chose not to do or say or participate in, all because you were more concerned of the needs of the people around you. One of the things that I have found for people that fall into the category is they don't ask the key question. And if you ask them this question, which I will say in a second, they often don't know, or they've never thought to internalize it and ask themselves, because, it's usually like, well, what do they want? What do they want? Well, what can I do for them? Well, they're upset. What do I need to do? And the question is, what do I want? Do I want to participate in this? Do I want that extra piece of chicken? Do I want, and so self-care and self-love is the ability to put yourself into that equation, on equal footing with everybody else that's in the room and everybody else that you're interacting with, and it is doing things that you want for yourself, things that bring you joy, things that bring you happiness. Damn everybody else, because it's important to me. Oh, it's important to me. Oh my God. And that could be just about anything. You can take yourself out for coffee, or you can meet with a friend for coffee, or, buy yourself some new clothes, take a hot bath, get some quiet time, without the kids, without the husband, without the TV, whatever that is, or maybe have some fun time. If you're a woman, a girl's night out would be really great. When we offer self-love to ourselves, it recharges our battery. And when our batteries are recharged, we have something to give. And so let me frame that in a little bit different way. If you find yourself in that category where you're always taking care of everybody else, It's like every time you're taking care of someone, you're taking a nickel out of the bank. And the next time you take care of them, you take a nickel out. And if they have this big issue going on, if they're really dependent, if they're just a pain in the butt and drive you crazy, there are those days where you're taking $5, $10, $20 out at a time. Skip the nickel. Um, and when you do things that are loving to yourself or for yourself, it's like you're putting some money back in. You are giving you something to fill that battery. I was dating this guy who will remain completely nameless, and a girlfriend of mine, and so he was umpiring baseball games. So he was gone 2, 3 nights a week umpiring baseball. And so a girlfriend of mine said, hey, we should go out on Thursday nights and go have dinner. He's gone half the time anyway on Thursday, so we should just go do it. So we started doing that. Well, very interestingly, not that he was a narcissist or self-serving at all, when baseball season ended, he assumed that I would stop going to dinner because he was no longer playing baseball. And it didn't go over real big with me because it was important to me and I was enjoying it and I was getting value and I was getting my little nickel back for everyone he would take out. And and I found it very revealing as well. Um, and I have to be honest, it's like it was really one of the first times where I actually sat there and said, well, this is important to me. That was important to you. This is important to me, and I'm not going to give it up just because you want me to. Okay. When it has to come to work related stuff, like, well, you shouldn't write that book. Yeah, I don't listen. But in other things, I do or try to participate. Um, and so giving yourself that time, giving yourself the opportunity to take care of yourself, to again put yourself into the equation is so important. Because here's the thing, it's okay to take care of yourself, and it's okay to say no, and it's okay to say, I would rather do this. And if they don't like it, because if it's important to you, then that's the piece that needs to be honored. And honoring yourself is part of self-love. And I got somebody trying to like blow up my phone. And of course, the volume won't go. Okay. And so I want to share another quick story, and then I'm going to open up the lines. And so I was doing a presentation for the local Lions Club, and I think the presentation was 6 steps to a healthier and happier you. And so one of the steps was to take time to love yourself. And so it was a piece of conversation very similar to what I was just sharing with you, and I suggested that before these individuals run out and help somebody move or, clean out their garage or I don't know, whatever they might be tasked, because the Lions Club is a service organization, whatever they might be tasked to do, that they should check in and ask, is this something that I want to do? Is this something that is good for me to do? Check in. And I don't even care. Is this something I want to do? I have to tell you, there were some people that were pretty upset with me because their view of love and their view of help and support was to take care of everyone else, and they're really not supposed to be in the equation. And you can't love yourself, you can't give to yourself. And in today's day and age, it's like waiting for someone to give to you. Don't wait too long, because it's just A lot of times there's not that equal exchange of energy. And so it's very important that you look to yourself and not in a narcissistic way. It's not about, I always have to have my way, but it would be nice if I could have my way and be honored and do what I want to do periodically, regularly, 50% of the time, some number. And I know that for many people, it brings up a lot of guilt. And that's what I really want to say hello to is that guilt. And I'm going to say it again. It's okay to take care of yourself. And it's okay to decide what you want to do, what is the best thing for you. And it's okay to say no. No. Anyway, so that's my thing for today, talking about self love. And so I'm going to switch over and open up the phone lines here real quick. But before I do, don't forget, if you would like to schedule a private consultation with Dr. Rita Louise, who's me, please go to soulhealer.com and either schedule a session or send me a message and we can set up a time. Don't forget to like Dr. Rita Louise on Facebook. So not Rita Louise with the image of the poodle and the tinfoil hat, but Dr. Rita Louise that has my bright, shining face on it. Or if you're here from YouTube, please subscribe to my channel, Just Energy Radio on YouTube. Like the video, subscribe, thumbs up, turn on the bell. I don't know, all those YouTube-y things. Please, I would really appreciate it. Okay, so there's already a whole bunch of comments in the thing. I'm going to go through and say hi to people, and then I will come back and start responding. Okay, so we have Lucy here. We have Veronica Ann Smith. We have Jackie. Jackie. Hey, Jackie. Let's see. We have BW or BDWHQ, which I actually know what that is now. Hey, dog. We have Bradley in the house and Jackie again. So hi, everyone. Oh, and we have James Arthur Jantic, the Black Knight of Talk Radio. So I'm just going to give you a little plug here. So a million years ago, when we were both young, I used to come on James's radio show, Feet to the Fire. And James, if you want to pop a link into your show, I would be happy to share that with people. And I used to go on his show, and every month I would do a soul healer moment. And other than being a lot more prepared than I am for these, I would do about 15 minutes of information about different topics, kind of like I do at the beginning of this show every week. And I don't know, it was just a lot of fun, very different time. Internet radio and podcasts were just so new back then. Yeah, but James, very old, dear friend. Okay, so I'm going back up to the top and see what kind of questions we got. And so wait, let me change this. So if you have a question, and it does not have to be that you want to get a reading, you can ask me about ghosts or ancient mysteries, pyramids, Anunnaki, anything, relationships, narcissists, you can just throw it at me. And if I don't know, I'll be honest and say I don't know. If you ask me to predict the future, that ain't happening. And if you ask me about dead people, I'm just going to really super roll my eyes at you and go, I don't talk to dead people. So, I could, but I don't. So anyway, here we go. Okay. All right. So James says he can. James is a very bad boy. He says he cannot post my link as it is banned from Facebook. Okay, James. So are you still at Feet to Fire or feettothefire.com? Just look him up. James Arthur Janchik, the Black Knight of Talk Radio. All right, let me click that off. All right, so Lucy, let's see what she has to say. Dr. Rita, happy Thursday. Do you still enjoy researching the underworld, Tartarus, and how the victor writes the stories, meaning making the underworld gods look like the bad guy? Hey, Lucy, so that really hasn't been my focus these days. I am writing kind of a follow up book to my book, The Dysfunctional Dance of the Empath and Narcissist, which came out a couple of years ago. And this one is really looking, this new book is really looking at what's going on inside our inner world, and how to change our perception of life from mayhem to joy. So it's coming along really good. I'm very happy with it. But it's not that I've walked away from that completely, because to be honest with you, investigating ancient mysteries has always been fascinating to me. And so to respond directly to your question or your comment, yes, that is one of the things that you find when you look at myths around the world is whoever won the battle, the victor writes the stories and the other guys are the evil demon people. We only need to look at the news today, and I don't mean this as a political, evil comment, but we look at the conflict that is going on in Europe, and the American media portray Russia as being evil demon people, and I'm sure they portray us as being evil demon people. So I mean, it is just, well, actually, it's very narcissistic because it's not really true. They just sit there and say, well, we're great, and they're not. And so, listen to us. One of the other things that I found in my research is that in some areas, and this was more in the Americas, especially Mesoamerica, you almost had like two different storylines kind of going on at the same time, where it became a bit unclear looking at the narrative who actually was the victor. So, yeah, great question. Thank you, Lucy. Okay, so let's see. So Veronica says, hard to get me on Facebook. So Veronica, if you could expand that comment, if you go to Dr. Rita Louise on Facebook or on the event page, I would think I would show up. I don't know. But if you like Dr. Rita Louise, I always post links on there for the live stream. But I'm glad that you're coming on YouTube because it works just as well on my end. Okay. Okay, so I'm guessing Veronica is commenting on the monologue, and she says, my problem is lack of good communication skills. 2, need more assertive skills. So I'm totally hearing you, Veronica. I mean, communication. Okay, so even though I do this and have no issue standing up in front of a group of people, but if I have to sit there and say what's important to me, it can be very challenging. I've gotten so much better. But when I first started doing that, like kind of working through, because it's not necessarily good communication skills, it's working through the energy of the negative programming that has been accumulated over life, that you're not important, that what you have to say is stupid, that you're this, that, and so you would speak up if you didn't feel like you were just a piece of crap, and who would want to listen to you? And I don't mean that personally, although you might see value in that. And so tools that I worked with was the 2 in particular. One was a tool and the other one was different. Was if there was someone that I needed to communicate with and it was something important to me, and I knew, that I was just going to lock up I would make a list of key points that I wanted to cover. And then I would go with my key points. So when I first used this strategy, I had this boss who was interesting. Anyway, and he was pretty narcissistic. And I was the only woman in the department. And I don't know, he was just kind of a dirty old man. Anyway, and I wanted to talk to him because I wasn't really happy, but talking to him was almost impossible. So I used to journal a lot then. So in my journal, and it was a big black, those big art books with the black covers, and I wrote all of these talking points. And I went into his office and I said, well, I wanted to talk to you a minute. And so he just like spent 15 minutes telling me like all this crap, like what I could be doing better and whatever. It's like, well, okay, but I didn't say anything. And he goes, well, okay. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not done. And I take the book off my lap and plop it down on the table, and I open it up and start going over it. And it gave me the strength and the confidence to at least, okay, there were like 10, 15 bullet points, and I got out 3. And I felt pretty good about the 3. And other times it's like you kind of have to like put your big girl panties on and like white knuckle the chair and breathe and just say it. One day I spoke my truth to someone that I really cared about, and it was on the phone, and I had a panic attack after it. So you are so not the only one, but the more you do it, the more you move through your own negative and traumatic programming, and I think a lot of people have that issue. So I'm hoping this helps you or anyone else that is listening. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, Bradley, I'm still waiting for your question. All right. Okay, so James's show and his archives are feet to the fire feettothefireradio.com. So I'm assuming there's not 2 fires in there. feettothefireradio.com. Check him out. Good friend. Always has great guests on his show, including me, although I haven't been on in a really long time, which we should remedy, James. Okay. So Bradley, thank you, Bradley, for the question. The last couple of days, I had the anger of a demon. I'm calm now. Was there in the planet? So I'm guessing you're wanting to know what the hell was going on. Okay. Well, it's interesting, Bradley. I feel like, and this is actually kind of good and positive. I feel like, obviously something inside of you got triggered. But I feel like the trigger was this like really, really, really old base, hidden away trigger that got activated. And it's one that you're kind of used to having be activated. And when it did, it kind of took all of the emotional energy and brought it to the surface. So I will bet, correct me if I'm wrong, that after you kind of came back, you were tired, that there was a sense of calm. I mean, you said calm, but a deeper level of peace. I mean, I feel like, the phrase I like to use is you've lose some pictures, you've lose some old programming that was inside of you that was really kind of buried deep. So good job. Okay. So Lucy says, I'm sure it will be an awesome book you will finish writing. So Lucy, the book is I have like 3 more chapters to write, so it's moving along pretty good. I'm very happy with it. So my sister, so this is all about I wonder if I can bring that up. My sister was joking around with with me when I was telling her about the book, and let me see. She like threw out this name, and actually I kind of like it, so I'm gonna like share it with you if I can find it real quick. So this is, I mean, it's a follow-on to the Dysfunctional Dance book, but it's really about taking control of your inner space, and taking control of you and getting the skills and the cojones necessary to speak your truth and to shift what's going on so that you don't have to feel bad all the time. Excuse me. And so the title she suggested was It's All About Me. And you know what? I kind of like it. So if it's something that you think might be pretty good, I mean, it really, the book is really kind of the antithesis, like the kryptonite to any narcissist. But the book really is all about me, but maybe narcissistic people would get it and read it because they're all about me too. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that title. Okay. And Lucy wrote, narcissists are notorious for being the victors controlling the narrative. Yes, they are. All right. So Jane just switching to YouTube. All right. All right. So Veronica says, yeah, I get tangled up in emotions and cannot figure out what to say. So I either shut up or swallow it or blow it, mostly when something comes up unexpectedly. Veronica, so I'm going to share this with you, but I know other people will be able to hear this and use this. I get when something comes up unexpectedly and it's kind of like, okay, I got nothing, but give me like 20 minutes and I'm sure I'll ruminate about it for 3 days. If something happens and there's something you think or want to say, or you find yourself worrying, or you find yourself ruminating, which means thinking about the event over and over and over and over and over again, hoping for a different outcome, it is okay an hour later, the next day, the next week, to approach the person and talk to them about it, and you can go complete with your list so that you can take the emotional energy out of it, and before you approach them, taking that deep breath and going, I can do this. So that's my suggestion. All right. So James says, yes, we should, meaning yes, I should come back on the show because it really has been a long time, James. Okay. So Johnny Wooding says, hi, is there anything or anyone for me, please? So Johnny, I kind of feel like that's predicting the future. So if you could be a little bit more specific, is there someone in the picture? Are you single right now? I mean, if you're single right now, that's totally cool. I have a different angle that I will take on that approach. But if you could just reframe your question, I will be more than happy to answer it. Okay, so Kit's here. Kit's in the house. And she says, my employees and I were talking about aliens today and wondering if there are aliens among us and if some of us are aliens and don't know it. Okay, good question. Interesting question. So this has been my experience. Okay, so I've never like seen a UFO. I've never like met like a real life alien. I do believe that there are people that are shapeshifters. Like they say, like Queen Elizabeth was a shapeshifter, and look, she's got them lizard eyes. I don't know what to think about that. It's possible. Our ancient history has well documented cases of shapeshifters. and them either using some kind of technology or having it be tied to the reptilians that were on the planet ages ago. But this has been my experience in working with clients. And it doesn't come up very often, but it does come up. And every so often, I will have a client who just, like their personal feelings are they just don't feel like they fit in, and they don't understand what's going on and they feel awkward, and there's just this whole weirdness going on in them. And it's not necessarily even what they say verbally, it's how they carry their energy that you can also see this. And when you look, it is very easy to see that they either have not incarnated on this planet very many times, or this is like their first incarnation on this planet, and so like they have, and I'm going to say like an alien soul, but they actually did incarnate here. And the part that's even more interesting is when asked, it's like, well, they don't feel like this is home. Um, and when I, and the way that I like to phrase that is like, they don't understand really what it is to be human. You really, apparently it's a skill that you gain lifetime after lifetime of incarnating in this body and being comfortable. But these people are clearly not comfortable. And in all my years of doing this kind of work, and it's not that I look for it all the time, but when it does come up, I would say that in all these years, I don't know, like I'm going to say under 10 people, and these people many times don't know it. Every so often, there is a certain level of recognition on their part that they're not from here. Um, but yeah, it's a very interesting thing. So, okay. So I made the comment about ruminating. So Veronica, ruminating, bad. And see, this is exactly, so the conversation that I'm having with Veronica are things that I actually talk about in this new book quite a bit. So if you find yourself ruminating, that should be the early warning sign. I wish I had like something I could like wave around here. The early warning sign that there's something that you need to communicate, and even though it might be hard, you will feel better after, and the ruminating will stop because you will have discharge. Okay, Johnny, so I guess you weren't here earlier. I don't talk to dead people. So, I mean, yeah, so no dead people. But if they're alive, I will talk about them because I do like gossiping-ish. So, sorry to disappoint. Okay, so Veronica has something else. I think one of my former coworkers was an alien, big head, little beady eyes. Too bad we can't post pictures on here. Okay. Oh, wow. We're on this whole alien kick. Cool. So, Blind Dog World Headquarters wants to know, are the aliens reincarnating here too? And yes, they are reincarnating here too. I mean, at one point in time, if you take this whole thing in, reincarnation thing in context, at one point in time, we were alien beings reincarnating on this planet. And we have just, or the majority of us have just been here longer. And you can actually look at people's, like past life tree to see how long they've been here. But the vast majority of people have been here. There are two primary waves that I have seen. Well, more than that, but I'll just say two. One, when the planet first became habitable, and I don't mean habitable by human life, but just by habitable by life. And then the second wave was when there was, and I'll say habitable by humans, but I would think that the images that I'm getting is more like Homo erectus, kind of, like that time period. So, but yes, they do reincarnate on this planet too. Okay, so we got my lover man, Mark Eddy, in the house. Hey, Mark, thank you for coming on the show. I miss seeing your name everywhere. Okay, so James want to know, and James asks hard questions. So, when is it alien incarnation or first incarnation versus mental, emotional, or social dysfunction? Okay. Um, So I have never met anyone that was their first incarnation. Like there was nothing and now they're incarnating. There has always been something prior going on. Um, and I sit there and, you sit there and you look at this stuff and you have to kind of make a label for it. So when I consider it an alien incarnation, is they haven't incarnated on this planet very long. From the mental, emotional, social dysfunction, I mean, that's just a symptom. Um, uh, of their lack of experience here. But one of the key things to me is when you look at their energy, there is this part of them that is always doing this, and it's always looking up to the sky because that's where home is. And this is not home. This does not feel like home. And you can see that there's this very strong attachment to this other place that they don't even know what it is and they don't understand why. But they're here and they're trying to deal with it. And so I have not seen these people as being mentally challenged at all. They more just don't understand why they feel a certain way. Um, and again, a lot of times they don't even bring it up. They might bring up something totally different, which causes me to look at something and then that's revealed. And it's like, well, that makes a whole lot of sense. So great question, James. Thanks. All right. So Lucy says, my hubby is a narcissist, but I never know if he is aware of it. Can you sense how aware of it he is? Remember, victims can unknowingly be vampires. Thank you. So, Lucy, are you talking about you, the victim, being a vampire? But anyway, so usually people that have narcissistic tendencies are not aware of it at all. But hang on one second. It's interesting, and this was said to me a number of years ago. And I believe this commentary. I don't like the commentary, but I believe the commentary. Um, is that sometimes people that, especially ones that you're in a long term relationship, might seem narcissistic is because you train them to be that way, where you're the one that chose to back down and not really push for what you want and your rights and keep things more balanced that way. And I feel like, Lucy, that is kind of your situation. Although I feel like for you, you are really starting to assert yourself and kind of clear some space out for yourself. So I think that's really great. I just feel like you don't want to be under his thumb anymore. and you are just actively taking steps to separate yourself from his bubble. I like that word, his bubble. So hit me up if that makes sense to you, okay? All right, so oh, this is kind of interesting. I kind of like pre-read it. So I am going to totally trash your name, Ms. Robinson. See, I can say that. So I have like no phonics skills, so pronouncing a name like yours isn't ever going to happen. So, but I can say Ms. Robinson. Hey, Dr. Rita, would you mind finding out for me why I only remember dreams twice per year and why it often feels like I don't dream at all? I kind of feel like I go somewhere. I have a faint remembrance of telling some of the darker ones that they cannot continue on their agenda. So, Ms. Robinson, not dreaming is not all that abnormal. Um, the only dreams that I remember having are usually bad dreams where I wake up upset. I very rarely recall good dreams or happy dreams, and even though on some level I know I must be dreaming, I'm assuming I'm dreaming, but I have zero conscious recollection of them at all, like zero. I hit the pillow and then I wake up 8 hours later and it's a new day and nothing. So there's a woman, her name is Betty Betharich. She was very popular in the 80s and she wrote, I think her book is called The Dream Book. And it has like dream interpretation, like if you see a cloud, it means this. And if you see a chair, it means this. But one of the things she talks about in her book is what you can do to remember your dreams. And so she suggests, like before you go to bed, to remind yourself or kind of like say an affirmation so that you will remember your dream. And then make sure that you have like a pencil and paper next to the bed and, remind yourself that you should wake up when you have a dream so that you can record it so you don't forget it. Ms. Robinson, I did that for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I was waking up multiple times in the night, and I quit. I like my 8 hours of sleep. I don't need to remember my dreams. They can do whatever they want. I haven't had any for years. Yeah, so don't feel like there's something wrong with you that you're not. you know at least you're only having like a couple of dreams a year. The only dreams I have are bad dreams, and I wake up and it's like, oh my god, I could live without that one. Okay, so Veronica asks, I have met a walk-in before, but what happens to the first being? Do they return to where they come from? That's a great question. So I've met a couple of walk-ins as well. And the theory is, and really all I have is the theory, because I have not worked in session with a walk-in. I've met a couple. I could tell that they were walk-ins, but I didn't ever sit down and do like a one-on-one session with them. But the theory is that the original presence, the original personality, the original soul usually wants to go and usually wants to leave. And so many times people that have walk-ins, they had a period where they were sick. And that's where kind of the transition happened, where the old personality left and the new personality came in. Now, if the old personality was still there and the new personality came in, then you would have dissociative identity disorder, meaning like multiple personalities, except the original personality is so suppressed behind the walk-in personality. And I never really got that impression that there were two people. It was more kind of like talking about the alien incarnation. It's like they had more confusion, like they they didn't know who the hell you were. because they didn't, have the body and didn't have the life experiences that the original personality had. I hope that helps. Okay, so Lucy says that no, him being a vampire. So talking about her narcissistic husband. Um, all right, I need to hang on one second. I'm gonna like scroll back. Oh, okay. So all right. So she want to know, is he aware? No, he is not aware, and he is definitely not aware that he's an energy vampire. Um, I mean, that's how energy vampires get their food, their feeding is just by sucking it off of other people. And no, I'll just say no. He's not aware. And if you tell him, he won't own it at all either, you know. Hey, Miss Cherry, nice seeing you. All right, dog. Now, thank you for the questions, by the way. So, have you ever encountered someone who had another life in the future, or is reincarnation subject to linear time? And so, what? Hold on one second. Well, one, I've never looked to process forward moving time, and I don't know. I don't get the impression that we would be able to access that bit of information. So I'll just say that it must be subject to linear time. Um, yeah. I don't get yeah, I'm just going to say that. Yeah. Thank you. Great question, though. All right. So Lucy says, right on. Thank you so much. Woohoo. I love when people try to help me with my phonics issues. So Jackie put Shaheen. I'm going to say it's Shaheen, but you know what? It might be, it might not be. No phonics skills. Jackie, I have trashed some of the best people's names. I used to have a radio show. Actually, James, the Black Knight of Talk Radio, hosted my show for 2 or 3 years, and he can attest to how many people. There's this guy, Drunvalo. I think that's it. I don't know. I called him Drunalvo through the whole interview, and I think it's Drunvalo. And he was so mad at me. And it's like, I'm sorry. And he would correct me and correct me and correct me and correct me. And it's like, it didn't work. And thank you, Ms. Robinson. I can call you Sarah. I can work with that. Okay, so Sarah says, I don't have bad dreams, but that's really good. Some people are dreamers, some people are visual clairvoyant, some people are auditory clairaudient, different people have different gifts, and it's okay if that's not your channel to receive energy on and receive information on. I bet you have other channels that are high functioning as well. Okay, let's see. So we have Leanne Garcia that just came in the house. Hey, Leanne. And Amber. Hey, Amber. Thanks for coming. And Sin. Okay, so Sin wants to know. Sin wants to know, how does Damien feel towards me? And then there's the follow-up. Oh, will he reply to me? So Sin, I'm just going to say this out loud, and you're probably not going to like me for saying it, but you've made it through other readings for me earlier, but your energy is just kind of feeling desperate, and I'm not necessarily getting that impression that Damien is going to reply to you. And if he does, there's not going to be this overt interest tied to it. So I wish I had like better news for you. Okay, let's see. All right. Um, so Sarah, you are so very welcome. Thank you for coming. Come back next week. Everybody that's here, if you only came to ask a question, come back next week, Thursday nights. All right. So Amber says, "Hey, Doctor, long time no see. I hope you're well, Amber. I am doing great." You already know read. All right. So Amber wrote, you already know reading. Amber, that's why I'm here. Ask your question, but it has to be a detailed question, not, hey, just tell me something. And not like, tell me what's happening next week, like a real question. Okay. Okay. So Mary Lee has on here saying, been watching, just saying hi. Hey, Mary, thanks for showing coming this week. Okay, so Leanne says, let's see, can you see what month all will all be receiving payout from the property? So I'm guessing you're selling a piece of property and waiting for the money from it. See, a little bit futury, but actually I can work with that. Hang on 1 second. I need to get a calendar in front of me. I'm going to use my phone. Bear with me. Bear with me, everybody. Uh, okay. Wow. All right. So I'm like totally dating myself here because I can't even like see the freaking calendar. Actually, not too bad, Leanne. So I'm getting like the end of June, and on a worst case scenario, like they approved it, but now they have to cut checks and blah, 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 blah. The middle of July, like no later than the 15th of July, so that actually feels pretty good. But I'm feeling like there's going to be a lot of activity like the last 2 weeks of June, but it's going to like take some time to like for them to get their crap together. How's that? But that's really not all that bad. I mean, what are we talking? 45 days? That's not bad. So, so you'll have to let me know if you get your money by then. So Sin says it's like I'm cursed. And Sin, I don't think that you're cursed, but the one of the ways to attract things to you and to bring things to you is to allow it to come. There's not anything wrong with interacting, but I'm going to portray your energy this way. Oh, Damien, are you there? Are you there? Wait, wait, message me, message me, message me. And even from an energetic, you just typing it is kind of overwhelming. So you need to chill. You need to allow the romance to happen and not demand it, not push it energetically in the way that you are. If that makes sense. I know you're young, yeah. All right, so Amber says next step guidance. Can you kind of give me a little something something to go with on that? Uh, let's see. Amber. Okay, well, actually, I got something for you. So Amber, I feel like you had been doing really, really good at grounding and maintaining your space and being in the flow. So I don't know what all's been going on with you. I feel like kind of the crazy on the planet has put you on a path of you taking care of you. Um, but I feel like recently, okay, and I'm just talking like the last couple weeks, like you've kind of been out of your groove, and I would just like to suggest, you know, doing some grounding, being mindful of what's going on. The topic of the show today was self love, doing some extra self love. I feel like your energy is kind of outside of yourself. And I feel like you have gotten to the place where it feels more comfortable being inside. So let me know if that works for you, or if there's something a little more specific you wanted guidance on your next step. Okay, so there are 3 minutes left. I'm going to take a couple more questions. If I don't get to your question, please come back next week. So I'm here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central for Thursday Night Live with Dr. Rita Louise. I'm going to take a couple more questions, and then I am going to sign out for the evening. So Leanne says, I missed most of the discussion. Sounds like a great conversation. And yes, it was really good. You can listen to the archive on Facebook or YouTube. It'll be out there and available. Hey, Antone, how's it going? Okay, so Amber, where am I? Amber wants to know if she's on the correct path. I definitely feel like you're on the correct path, and I'm going to come back and make the piece of commentary. Don't force it, kind of like what I'm saying to Sin. Don't force it. Relax back into you and allow it to happen, because I feel like, again, the last couple of weeks, you've been putting more effort in, not awful. I'm just fine tuning it here a little bit. Okay. Relax, chill, self care. It will come, it will happen. Just allow it to. So Sarah says, I will thank you for the medical intuitive suggestions. By the way, I've not had to go back to the hospital. The bladder is still not up to par yet. Also, I intuited celery juice first thing this morning. Oh, I know who you are. Now I know who you are. Hey, girl. I was kind of getting celery juice, but it kind of kept going in and out on me. But yes, do it, girl. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. All right. Where am I? You know what? All right. One last thing, Leanne. I would dream spirits showing me how they died, and I would feel my heart beating fast as they would narrate what happens. Ugh, I don't know that I'd want to have that. Okay. All right, guys. So it is that time. I am going to sign off. Well, we just got Chris and Jerry in here. So I, from the bottom of my heart, see, I had this heart because I was talking about self-love, but my big head was in the middle of it. I, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank all of you for coming tonight and supporting this show. Please tell your friends. It's an open forum. You don't have to be my friend to participate. I would just love to grow it and be able to share my gift and insights with anyone that could use them at any point in time. Again, if you would like to schedule a private consultation, my webpage is soulhealer.com, and you can reach out to me there. Don't forget to like me, Dr. Rita Louise, on Facebook, or subscribe to my YouTube channel, Just Energy Radio on YouTube. Like it, check it, thumbs up it, do all that good stuff on there. So until next time, I am Dr. Rita Louise, and be blessed. How come? Oh, wrong line. Well, if I did the right.